Now we're going to take a look at the best of the traditional publishing and how it merges together with the best of the new publishing.
Well, as we discussed with the mergers and conglomerations of the large publishers and media companies around the world, there are less major publishers around today and perhaps less markets to solicit manuscripts to them. But there's good news, and that's the emergence of independent publishers and a great number of self-published books. There's no stigma any longer, and the vanity presses have gone out of business. Everything now is POD, printing on demand, where you can self-publish your book and print 100 copies, 200, 500, whatever you like, and not necessarily have it in your garage. Actually, Random House and Simon & Schuster, major publishers, are competing with the likes of Ex Libris and iUniverse and CreateSpace. They're providing self-publishing help to you and efficiency, and that you can say then that you're distributed by Random House.
And I particularly like CreateSpace. They have the best customer support in the business. The longest wait I've ever had is about 90 seconds, and they'll help you set up your account, basic information, and they'll also help you handle very complex printing problems.
Well, as we know, there are less independent bookstores around in your neighborhood and mine. Only Barnes & Noble exists as a mass bookstore retail chain, but buying books online from Amazon is the #1 sales market, and the emergence of price clubs like Walmart and Costco and Target provide other books for greater distribution, and with e-books and traditional books.
Yeah, I did talk a little bit about social media earlier, and social media is really critical these days, and it's just not enough to open an account. You really have to effectively work social media and integrate Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Goodreads, webinars, and Amazon. You just need to really just integrate all of these platforms so that they work together. And one of the programs that I like particularly is a program called Hootsuite. I know it's kind of a funny name, but it allows you to monitor and engage your customers in a meaningful way, and so I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I think that publicity for authors has changed very favorably. There are less TV show appearances, less author tours due to logistics and the cost factor, but they're very much, you are dependent upon, and the publishers are dependent upon, the author platform, the new buzz term, how you get attention through the social media that Steve just discussed, and through blogs and Twitter and other ways where you can reach the public. Well, the ancillary market, rights market is greater than ever. Foreign markets, where once we had to ship manuscripts to be sold and considered, that would take months. Now everything is done electronically, so there's a greater communication between publishers around the world and those in the United States, perhaps you as a self-publisher. And of course there's film and TV and cable and listening to books and e-books, so there are a number of ancillary markets that are available to you, the author, in whatever capacity.
And new markets keep coming up all the time, particularly even the way people consume media, the way that people consume media on Netflix, whereas people, instead of waiting every week for a new show to come out, they'll all be released at the same time, and people will sit down on a weekend with their friends and watch an entire series. And also now Amazon is not only selling you the TV set and streaming it to your computer or your iPad, but now they're going to be producing original programming for television and movies with their Storyteller studios. Well,
our choice of formats has triplicated if I may. We once read traditional books, which I still enjoy, but now there are e-book formats on your Kindle or Nook or whatever has been devised lately, and of course listening to books through audio versions. Well, there's a new kind of hybrid who used to be an agent. There's now the agent marketer who is involved in a book totally from concept, working with you editorially and on the marketing end, because the publishers and their editors are more bottom line oriented and they don't have time to do all these things. So I represent this type of person. I call myself a book producer who get involved with you early on with editing, copy editing, changing a manuscript, marketing, ancillary rights, and getting it to the marketplace. Well, discounting now is tremendous. You get huge discounts from Amazon, up to 40%. You get it from the price clubs. You'll get it from the Barnes and Nobles, because they're buying books at 50 to 60% off from the publishers, and they're selling it to you for 40. So there are margins there to be made, and the publishers work backwards. It's an artificial retail price because they know how much they will net. We've mentioned the proliferation of reading clubs across the country, spawned by Oprah, and now it's a tremendous marketplace, predominantly with women having these reading clubs. And the publishers have facilitated their get-togethers by putting reading charts in the back of their books to help you to ask the right questions and answer them. Well, branding names now, the major price clubs, the superstores want brand name authors. They want Tom Clancy and Grisham and Danielle Steele and Mary Higgins Clark. They focus on bestsellers, and that's where the big discounts are. Probably your book or mine won't get into one of those stores. Amazon sells almost everything. They're now doing a lot of franchising of an author. James Patterson is a great example. He's now an entrepreneur who charts out a plot and ideas and hires somebody to write each book. The spin-offs, the derivatives of the chicken soups, and the shades of and others we've talked about, so that there's a branding and a franchising of repeating a successful formula again and again to go back to the public with those concepts.
The new publishing, the way I look at it, is going to look a little differently, and there'll be a lot of sharing of resources. I'm looking at a lot of specialization. I see that when you specialize with a publisher who's just got mysteries or just has self-help, just has romance, this amortizes the cost of the marketing that is inevitable. Every book is going to need some marketing, somebody to set it apart, some way to set it apart, and somebody to actually work that marketing to make sure that that differentiation is made. So I see new publishers being very specific and having a way to amortize your marketing costs. If you have 25 mystery writers and you have somebody on the phone or contacting mystery websites, you're not just contacting on behalf of one author, you're contacting them on behalf of 25 authors. And when you get a booking for one, maybe you can get a booking for a dozen for the next few months. So that's the way to make it work. And one of the things that I really see happening is I recommended to several authors the idea of if you can't be accepted by a major publisher or a specialized publisher, what I see happening is a bunch of authors who have the same kinds of books approaching somebody who does marketing, like IBMG, and working negotiating some kind of a deal. So if you can't afford X amount of money per month, maybe 5 or 10 of you can do that. And so I actually have been approached a couple of times by groups of writers who have figured this out. And it does make sense, because whereas paying $5,000 or $10,000 a month to market your book might not make sense. It might make sense to pay $500 and have 10 of your friends pay $500 and hire a company just to work that mystery cluster of authors, of which you are one. And that can work, and it can work effectively, I believe. And when I think these days, publishing is not just about ebooks or books you can hold in your hand. It's also about these embedded products that I was talking about, where you can offer seminars, you can offer consultations, you can offer all kinds of things. It's really the kind of products that you can offer in a digital world are really limited just by your imagination.
Might I just add also, lest we forget, that a book, your book, still has to be written well, edited well, and should have appeal to a very specific or general marketplace, and it should have commercial potential. So those are musts, and we haven't gotten into discussion of how to write a book, which we're both familiar, but that is essential in you planning your book. That part has not changed.
I see that Beverly has anticipated our last slide. Yes, Stan and I can be retained to give you a private consultation, both of us together or individually. Anything more you want to say about that?
No, and don't be surprised if you meet us in person that we don't look exactly like our pictures on the screen.
I look better. I'm not sure that, well, I don't know how Stan feels about his picture.
That'll be discussed after we get off the air.
Well, thank you very much for attending our seminar.
Thank you.